Ladies and gents in Cyberland, so I'm coming back to you guys with a review, video game review of one of my favorite games I played in my whole lifetime. Yeah, this is one of my favorite games, actually one of my favorite series too. The game I'm talking about, as we can see these kids running through the beach, is... Dun, 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 come on, where's the... there it is, Kingdom Hearts. So, Kingdom Hearts, I played back when I was in college. Here we go. We got Minnie, Daisy, and Donald. So, Kingdom Hearts is pretty much about a main character named Sora who wants to see more than what he has on his island. Of course, he ends up going to different other planes, different other worlds. And this game incorporates characters from the Final Fantasy, but mainly the Disney aspect. So I think some points Square Enix now, but Squaresoft at the time, got together with Disney and pitched an idea, and Disney was totally on board with it, and this is what we got. So the characters that Sora works with, of course, is Donald and Goofy. Those are your backup guys to accomplish what you need to do. And pretty much the game is about them going from world to world, which they're at Traverse Town right now, and this is the first time they meet up. And they're going through to stop these beings called the Heartless. And the Heartless pretty much are going through and taking over worlds one at a time, destroying them, but also turning the people of those worlds into what they look like. Those things right there, the Heartless. So Sora and Goofy and Donald are tasked with trying to seal up the keyholes of these worlds, as well as find the king, who's Mickey Mouse. One of the things I really enjoyed about this game was the gameplay. Up until this point, every game that I played from Squaresoft, which was mostly the Final Fantasy games, it was always a situation of you hit me, I hit you kind of thing. And this was the first time I played a game where it was like it was open to where you can dodge getting hit or they can hit you. And that was it. So as we can see right here, I am in Alice in Wonderland's world, fighting the queen's minions, which happen to be the hearts or the cards. And I have to... missions preferably are different depending on what's going on. But this one was looking for Alice. Of course, that didn't happen. And then as we go to certain worlds like Deep Jungle and Agrabah and Halloween Town and Neverland and stuff, you can at one point take one of your characters out and put one of the characters from the world in to help you get through the level. Of course, for me, I didn't do that because in my experience, I've noticed is that I can only keep those characters for that world, so I can't take them with me. So I figured, why don't I just use Donald and Goofy, because they're going to level up. They're the ones I can continue to use, whereas the characters of that world, I can't take them to another place. So I felt like it just wasn't going to be doable for me to do, so I decided to opt out of that. As you can see right now, one of the things that... a lot of people, I don't remember having a problem with this, but I think it was a problem this time around. A lot of people had mentioned that your customization, your party was very important in the game, because if you didn't, then certain characters like Donald would start using too many items and dying all the time, or Goofy would be immobile because he's not using his abilities right. And this is one of the things that I spent. Actually, I didn't spend. Somebody had mentioned it, and I followed their lead, because at this point, I'm like, the game is over 10 years old. I don't feel like trying to recreate the wheel kind of situation or trying to figure this little part out. So I just found it and changed my settings. And as we can see right here, finishing up Deep Jungle, pretty much about to seal up the portal for Deep Jungle, the keyhole. And this is one of the main things you do through each world. You just go through and you keep sealing up the keyholes for the game. So, that was aspect. As far as the levels, I enjoyed pretty much every level except the Little Mermaid, and I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, here you go. This is sealing up one of the worlds. And of course, the other thing is how you get to each world. You use this gummy ship that Chip and Dale pretty much have a hand in. Oh, also, that thing at the bottom right by Sora's feet, the little white emblem, the Mickey Mouse emblem, those are Trinities. And you'll find those throughout the game, and you do that to help you get better items and also help you in the long run for when you're going to need, if you want to get your ultimate weapon. That's clearly up to you, because that's a tedious task. The other thing was the villains that they incorporated into the game. as we can see right here, you got Oogie Boogie, Jafar, Maleficent, Captain Hook. That was great too. I loved how Disney did incorporate some of the original villains. Well, not all original, because Nightmare Before Christmas was '90s, but most of the other, and Jafar was '90s too. But the other villains were of the other eras of the '60s and '50s, I believe. And out of all the villains, the one that really got my attention was Maleficent. Because growing up, I remember Sleeping Beauty, and some people liked it, some people didn't. I liked it, but not because of it was a short film, but I liked it because of her. She was probably the only Disney character I grew up being actually fearful of. She had the woman who played the character, very menacing, very scary. Same thing when she also did the voice for Cinderella's stepmother too. But the way they portrayed the character in that movie was just like, she was scary. Like, she was probably the only villain out of all the Disney films that I've seen where she was actually very scary. Like, it wasn't what she did, it was how she talked that made her a great villain, Another world I enjoyed too, was why I have in the video, was Olympus Coliseum. It was fun to compete against Hercules and trying to do all the levels and such. And of course, deal with Hades, because they're part of that. So as you can see, the one thing too about this is it helps you level up, or like as we like to call grinding. It's one of the grinding may have a different term now, but for gamers, grinding was always constantly fighting a certain thing to get your levels up to a certain point. And then Agrabah. Agrabah was pretty cool. And on the other thing is, when you go to different worlds, some Heartless will look the same, but then other ones will start looking like this. Like, they'll take on the form of what they would look like technically if they were somebody in that area, as we can see. They also take on abilities too, different abilities. And then of course, follow the items and stuff. I think every level, every world in Kingdom Hearts was a maze to an extent. To get to a certain part, you kind of had to. Squaresoft still had kind of that Final Fantasy feeling where you had to figure out a certain part to get further through the level to finish it up. It wasn't just straightforward. So it did have that. One of my favorite levels, I would say favorite worlds, was Halloween Town. The gameplay was cool, normal, but I loved the characters in here because I loved Nightmare Before Christmas. And I liked how they made Sora, Donald, and Goofy look. And then also you get to use Jack Skellington. I, of course, didn't use him because, again, I liked using my characters since those are the ones that are going to level up and I have to carry them on to the next world. Whereas Jack Skellington, I can't take him with me, so I kind of felt like, what's the point? Because, I didn't feel it served me a purpose. Then, of course, in here, Peter Pan was another level I enjoyed as well. Peter, maybe he was always like that in the movie too. He kind of came off a little bit like a dick right here to me, just like he didn't want to do this or didn't want to do that, He just kind of, but maybe that's how they presented him too, because that's how he was. What I really enjoyed about this level was the fact that I was able to fly. Like, I literally, you could say things about the level, but I like this flying aspect. At this point, I really didn't care too much about the level. I just was like, I'm just going to float in the air and fly around and see what I can do, just because it's not something that you can just do, So I just wanted to see what I could do and how high I could go up and how far I can go down. And that was one thing I really did like about the pirate ship for Peter Pan. I was just like, man, I'm going to take advantage of this. And I'll go back down there in a second, which I think I'm about to do right now. Yep. And then, of course, you fight the villains, the Heartless, and they, of course, take on the how they looked from the world that they're in for the Heartless. They take on a different aspect of the world. So, no, it was cool. It wasn't. I didn't dislike it. Thoroughly enjoyed this one as well, since I have a clip of my gameplay from it as well. Then, of course, you have to fly around. Last level. Well, not last level, but another one. Hollow Bastion. So, I am not a fan of Beauty and the Beast. However, I loved this level. I liked how they did the artwork for it. I liked the monsters or the Heartless in it, fighting them. That was pretty cool. Because Beauty and the Beast, I was never a fan of the movie, except the song Be Our Guest. Otherwise, the film, I was just like, whatever. Did not like it. Only watched it one time, so because my mom blackmailed me so I could play Street Fighter 2 on my Super NES when we rented it from Blockbuster. And then when you go back to Transverse Town at a certain point, that's when the villain or the Heartless start to change. They get more stronger, more powerful. And at this point, to me, the gameplay really became more of a grinding session. Because if you don't know what you're doing or what to do at this point in regards to fighting and defending yourself, well, you might want to put the game down and go talk to some people or something about what to do, because it's kind of straightforward. This really became more of a grinding session, and also I forgot what I was doing at this point, but a grinding session and looking for items from the ultimate weapon, because you really should start before this, but this is when I started doing it, because I figured, I'm not going to get every single thing in the game, but I at least want to make sure I get that weapon, so it's going to help me dealing with the final boss. Because there's also the Diamond Keyblade. I'm like, I ain't doing that. That's a little too much work for me. I've beaten this game before, but at a certain point, it's like I don't have nothing to prove in regards to, I said I got this thing that I did years ago too. Like the ultimate weapon, I just wanted to be able to use that. And I knew it takes time to do, but I didn't have a problem doing that one as opposed to some of the other Keyblades. I wasn't going to do that. So now in regards to the level I did not like, the only thing, even though I did not dislike anything about the game, I disliked. Well, now it's like, well, how you not dislike, how you have a part you don't like about the game, but you don't dislike the game. I just did not care for this level, and I just feel it was too much of a fucking maze, and the controls sucked, and that was the Atlantis Little Mermaid. And I don't blame Square for this, because I kind of feel like, it is their fault. They are responsible. But it's kind of like, what could you really do, because you're in water? And how smooth was the gameplay for this level going to be? Because it's not like you could roll around and jump and stuff like, when you're not in the water. That level, you were just really limited. It was too much of a damn maze trying to get anywhere in it. And it just was not a great experience. And even when I originally played the game, I hated it. So I knew when I came back to play the remastered, I was just going to be like, I am not going to like this level. I'm not going to like this level. There's not going to be anything I'm going to enjoy. I'm not going to like this level. Fuck this level. I can't stand this level, and I can't wait to get out of it. And that's pretty much what happened. I went back there only to get items that I needed for the synthesizing of the ultimate weapon. But otherwise, terrible level. I mean, fighting Ursula was fun. That was cool. And the story-wise, I didn't have an issue with it. I just felt the level was a shitty area. I didn't care for it. And, of course, these little damn things. So, just to know for anybody watching this, if you ever decide to get the ultimate weapon, for me, this was probably the hardest place to do, was to fight those little pink little monkey things, because once they get locked onto you, it's a wrap. Like, they're not going to drop the item, the power. I think it was the power gem you needed to synthesize the ultimate weapon. Once they see you, it's a wrap. So, and they just keep attacking you, and you don't have anything you can do to defend it. It's kind of at this point where you have to either die or just leave. And if you collected a power gem and you get killed, I think you lose it, because I think I lost it at least a few times when I got killed over there. The other thing, characters that make cameos appearance, we had Cloud, we have Sephiroth, we also had Aeris, Yuffie, and Sid, and Leon. I don't know why they say Leon, because they should have just said Squall, because that's who it looked like, but, it is what it is. So as here, you can see the synthesizing process. You kind of have to do this in order. And also note, if you're going to synthesize, when you synthesize, do not give any of the up things like defense up or attack up or AP up. Don't give those to Mickey or Goofy, because it doesn't make a difference for them at all. It really only helps you, because if Mickey or Goofy go down, they'll get back up. But if you go down, it's game over kind of thing. So don't offer that stuff to them, because they continue to level up, and you want to make sure you're the strongest of the bunch. So that's something that I kind of made a little bit of mistake on, but it's something moving forward with the rest of the games to keep in mind. When it comes to my rating of the game, I will give it a 5 out of 5 yes sirs. I don't see it. The game is a classic. It is a masterpiece. I don't see it having anything under that. Of course, I did not like the Little Mermaid level, but that doesn't take away from the story of the game. I just didn't care for the level, but that's me. Some other people might have enjoyed it and may not have enjoyed another level. It's just I could not fathom it. I could not stand it. It just was not pleasant. But the game was wonderful. Also, the soundtrack for the game was amazing. It's one of the soundtracks I listen to when I'm not listening to my bands and some hip hop and stuff. Because it's very rare where you have those things done on a grand scale like this was. And I gotta give Squaresoft credit. When they make soundtracks for their games, they do a hell of a job. It's a grand scale. It's very memorable when they do it. So with that being said, I look forward to my next review for the Kingdom Hearts will be Chain of Memories. That's more likely the next game I'm working on. I never played it, so that'll be an interesting thing to see in regards, because I know it's a kind of a different gameplay in regards to cards and stuff, as opposed to moving around. And then of course, getting on to moving through the rest of the Kingdom Hearts series, getting from game through game, because I really missed out on a lot. I only played 1 and 2 back in the day, and now I'm finally going through the whole thing. So anyway, you guys, hope you enjoyed the review. It was a long review, but it's game means a lot to me, so I figured I'd put in everything I have to say about it and then some. So anyway, I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Okay.